next summit speaker is the CEO of the wildly successful Brill Media Company, INC 500 company, and the seventh fastest growing private company in California. It's like the fifth economy of the world. We provide strategic marketing. This company provides strategic marketing services that drive sales and generate leads for brands, large and small. This CEO also writes in Forbes, Inc. magazine, Social Media Examiner. That's why this person is really an exciting add-on to our summit speakers, because this person brings in so much expertise in terms of digital marketing and programmatic advertising. He is also the host of LA Business Podcast. VirtualPreneurs, our next speaker, Robert Brill.
Thanks for having me, Ruben. This is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking some time off of your busy schedule and being with us today.
Happy to be here.
Now, how's COVID-19 in your area right now?
Right. So I don't know the number of cases. I'm in Los Angeles, California, and we're on stay-at-home orders, effectively a quarantine. Really, we should only be going out for essentials like groceries. I believe liquor stores are open and cannabis dispensaries are open, all essential. We do cannabis marketing. I think that's good. I think, there's debate, but the general consensus is that right now, so it's March 26th when we're recording this, New York is about to be hit and is sort of like at that tipping point where New York City is being like inundated with hospital people coming into the hospital with COVID-19. It's expected that in the next 2 to 5 weeks, California and Los Angeles will be hit hard with that. So basically, as an advertising business, we were running tickets for various live event things happening. So like concerts. When people go to see, when people see Cardi B or Hugh Jackman or Kiss, like we were selling tickets for that. None of that is happening. We were selling tickets for various sports teams. None of that is happening. We were running ads for a healthcare campaign, and that's also not happening. What is happening, which is pretty cool, is we're running ads for a psychic hotline, and that's continuing to run. But the reality is that our clients have frozen in place, no spending, and so a lot of the ad spending from our campaign have stopped because people can't buy the thing that we were advertising. But I do still think it's a really valuable time to market, and I think it's an important discussion to have.
You're a business thought leader in your area. Can you tell us how COVID-19 is changing the way you do business in your area?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 is creating a lot of uncertainty for people, for humans. This is a human crisis. This is not specific to one country or one part of the world. Like, this is an unprecedented change, and I think this is going to change. Whenever we come back to normal, it will be a different type of normal. I just don't know what that is yet. So what's happening is, people are staying home. It's, I found the experiences working closely with my mom, trying to communicate to her mom, you got to stay home. You're over 65. Like, the governor says you have to quarantine. You should quarantine because you're in a high risk group. Like, stay home. So we have to be the adults in the room, and our parents, and I think I've heard this across a lot of different circumstances, are the ones who are like, no, we're just going to go out. We'll go to work. It's fine. No, stay home. So I think the overarching challenge, I think, is people don't know what's happening. Like, don't know if this is going to last weeks, months, or years. So when, just basic economic stuff, like if people don't know what the future is going to hold, they're going to hoard cash, they're hoarding toilet paper, they're going to stop, and they're going to say, okay, let's just prepare for the worst and hope it doesn't get that bad. So it's hard to plan for business. It's hard to plan personally when you don't know what the world is going to look like.
Mhm. Now, for startups and local businesses who are affected by COVID-19, what are your suggested plan of action for them to at least survive or sustain a couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, understand your liquidity situation. Do you have cash to cover you for the next month, 6 months, year, whatever the case is, personally and professionally, right? If the answer is yes, then you're in a really fantastic position. If the answer is no, then you've got to make decisions about what to do. There have been just reported 3.3 million layoffs in the United States over the last month, which is dramatically higher. I believe I didn't verify this, but I heard it from a reporter that it was like 500 to 700,000 um, newly unemployed people across the country was the highest number prior to this month. So this is substantially higher. Um, you know, so the question is, if you don't have cash or if you have limited cash on hand, what are your options? Number one, take on small business loans, that some of which may be forgiven. That the the $2 trillion stimulus package in the United States has just been passed today, I believe. And so that is going to provide an opportunity for keeping small businesses up and existing, perpetuating into the future. And then number two is make a decision like, what kind of business are you today? Will that business be needed in the future? Is there an opportunity to pivot into something that may be more in need? Um, you know, I'm of the perspective that most businesses should be marketing, which is an un which is counter to what people are actually doing. A lot of businesses are just not marketing for fear, like we don't know what the world is going to look like. But and I have I'm writing a research paper which is based off of secondary research, so looking at research that has already existed, compiling different sources. And the basic idea is that companies that market during times of economic recession or depression come out ahead in the long term. Meaning,
Hmm.
one of the studies that I looked at shows that companies who lower marketing spend have a decrease in sales about 1%. Companies that maintain marketing spend have an increase in sales less than 1% as the economy recovers. But companies who increase marketing spend increase sales up to 4%, depending
Oh,
on industry. And the
interesting.
reason for that, there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, your competitors are not spending running ads or marketing messages. So the fact that you are keeps you top of mind among consumers. And number two, there's a bond that marketers create with consumers that get broken if the messaging stops. And number three, you are creating the perception of stability and viability and success by leaning into the conversation, even though people can't buy your product immediately. So, for example, one of my former clients, which is just pure happenstance, is the Curacao Tourism Board. Curacao is part of the ABC Islands, Aruba,
Mm.
I think Bermuda, and Curacao in the Caribbean.
Caribbean, yeah.
Yes. And I've been seeing their ads on Facebook. Now, no one's going to travel to Curacao today, tomorrow, or next month. But like a year from now, when people are like, "Oh, I just want to get out of the house and travel somewhere," like maybe Curacao will be top of mind, right? So you're creating that long-term opportunity, even though there's short-term pain in the market.
Is it true that the ad spend now is way cheaper than the previous month because of COVID-19?
Yeah, I mean, supply is up, demand is down, right? And we buy purely on an
Inventory?
ad buying in 2020 is primarily like 85% of it is based on economic supply and demand models.
Mm.
So there's a lot of inventory and there's not a lot of people buying ads, then the cost will drop. Unless your target is very narrow. If your target is very narrow, then the cost might still be high. But
Mm.
generally speaking, the ad costs are going to be lower.
Wow, that's interesting. So, example, if you're a local store, like
Yeah.
a barber or a spa, or how do you What's your idea about getting them ads?
Yeah, I mean, number one, there are a few things that need to go down. Number one, the first, if you're a business owner, the first question is, will you exist in 3 months, 6 months, and a year?
Mhm.
The answer is no to any of that. First, figure out how to exist, how to perpetuate into the future, right? Take on loans, cash flow, lay off people, whatever the case might be. Unfortunate as it is. So let's assume now for the answer is yes, and I will exist into the future as a business. Now I would be marketing. I would be running messaging both on paid, free social content posting across any number of platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Mhm.
Twitter. The challenge with those platforms still is that your organic reach is low, right? Like you're just not going to reach a lot of people. And
Mhm.
even now, like Twitter is favoring content, especially around the COVID-19 situation, from verified users,
Process, yeah.
right? Which is good. It makes sense. Like you want people who are known experts or reporters to be talking about this. Number two, I would be buying ads because it's less expensive, and now than it was 2 months ago. And the ad messaging has to be incredibly empathetic. Like if you don't know how to write ads in a way that's not going to alienate people, it cannot be tone deaf. You cannot tell people to buy stuff now. You have to address the situation, but you can still market in a way that is um, relevant to the times that we're living in, that underscores the nurturing and empathetic element of where your customers are today. People are scared for the future. Address that and move on with your marketing message. Okay, talk about so I'm writing this. If you don't mind, I'm writing this document right now. I'm in the first draft of it. It's 6,800 words. It's
It's long.
if people want more information, they can go to brillmedia.co/economy,
Mhm.
and they can sign up, and when it gets released, we'll give them more information. But the idea here is, and so I'm writing it's a series of decision making steps to understand how to talk about this marketing right now and sort of like decisions to make. The core idea is that according to a Harvard Business Review document article, consumers are moving into this place of like it's how pained is the consumer basically. The consumer might be like everything full stop, like I may not have enough money to pay my rent next month, and that's one type of mindset. Another type of mindset might be, I mean, like it's challenging, but we'll kind of get through this. And then there's people who, for lack of a better term, are ducking their head in the sand. They're saying, we'll figure it out tomorrow, right? So the psychology is different. Prior to this crisis, you could segment people: high income, low income, men or women, young or old, like in market for a certain product. But now all that goes out the door, and you have to really say, like, can the consumer afford it? Are they scared or are they not scared? So think about who your consumer is, how you're messaging to them, and really focus in on empathy, cleanliness, safety, risk aversion, deals, potentially offer deals.
Mhm.
Like give people what they want. They want to know that, like, you're people hold businesses to a really high standard. And you have an opportunity to rise to that occasion if you're a business owner by giving them the thing that they want. Show empathy and give them a deal, or give them some way of acknowledge that the customer is in pain, address it, and give them something to help them maybe find a little bit of comfort.
Mhm. Ah, that's heavy. But the good thing is you were able to identify everything that needs to be done to be able to serve still the public and spend at lesser ad spend considering the supply or the demand is pretty low. Now, for those entrepreneurs who are stuck in their homes right now because they can't do anything, their stores are down, they were shut down because of the quarantine and the lockdown. What do you think should be the best ways that they need to do for them to be productive?
Yeah, I mean, the first question is, are you a person looking for opportunity? A lot of entrepreneurs are,
Yeah.
but we're in a moment of opportunity now. There's a lot of opportunity in the marketplace. So number one, I'm always thinking about, okay, what can I do to serve people? What solutions can I create that would solve a problem? And number two, um, anything from the perspective of education. There's a lot of free education right now on LinkedIn and other digital marketing courses. Like if you want to learn about how to run Facebook ads, take the Facebook Blueprint course.
Yeah.
You know, you know, business owners don't need to be the person to write copy or do the marketing or post on social or run Facebook ads, but they'll be better business owners if they know how it works. That way, when they work with a good agency, they'll know that the agency is good. And when they work with a bad agency, they'll know the agency is bad because they have that baseline foundational knowledge.
Mhm.
So take this time to understand the mechanics of the business that you're going to have in the next year or two. If you need to do marketing, understand the 5 key core marketing principles: a landing page, a core message, how to run ads, how to write copy, how to optimize campaigns. Like think about the things that are relevant to your business, educate yourself. Or or just take this moment to spend time with family. We're at home. It's a beautiful time. I have a 15-month-old little boy. He is the most beautiful thing in the world. And I love the fact that I work from home regardless. So I'm going to be here with or without the COVID situation. But I love the fact that my wife and I spend a lot of time together. We're sort of sheltering in place,
Mhm.
and it feels just very nice and cozy. It's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
So benefit from that time. Do with it what you will, and let your mind go where it needs to go. Just don't be scared. We'll all get through this.
Thank you very much for that, Robert. Now, last words for the local and small businesses out there listening to us right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a time to right size your business. Take inventory of how you got here today. If you're in a good place,
Mhm.
ask yourself why you're in a good place. If you're in a bad place, ask yourself why you're in a bad place. All you can do is look at what got you here and make better decisions starting tomorrow or starting today.
Mhm.
And it's no fault. No one's at fault here. You're not a bad person because you're not a good person because you ran a good business. You're not a bad person because you ran a bad business. You're just a person making decisions with the best way you know how. And that's what it means to be human. There's no roadmap, there's no guide, and that's okay. But what you can do is take inventory. I'm a big proponent of trend analysis, like really understanding what's happening, why it keeps happening, and if I want better results, really looking at how to make those results better in the future by looking at the trends, identifying the challenge, and then once I know what I'm solving for, then I know it's much easier for me to solve it when I've identified the thing that I'm solving for.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the things that's been critically important for me. And I know everyone's mind works differently, but that's my advice from a person who thinks about analytics and data a lot.
Thank you very much, Robert, for the time. And I hope the actionable tips and suggestions you made today can really help our local and small businesses out there who's really looking for some hope to at least survive this trying and hard times.
Thank you, Ruben. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much and looking forward to talk to you more soon.
Thanks, Ruben. Are we done? Yeah. Cool.